These are 5 things that I would not do again as a multi-time best-selling author. I have been a best-selling author for many, many years. I've worked in publishing long before that and business way before that. So I have done all the trial and error. I have gone through those pitfalls and I want to help you avoid them. Here are 5 things that I would not do again that you do not have to do so you can skip it and get ahead faster. The first of which is to publish with a small, medium, or large size publisher. If it is not the big 5, they are not capable of helping you to advance your career. They do not have the time, they do not have the money, they do not have the resources, they have not studied the industry, they have not studied marketing, and anything that they can do for you, you can very easily do for yourself and get ahead faster, stronger, and make better decisions. I will not be working with anybody that's not a big 5 publisher or a subsidiary of one of those big 5 publishers. And the only reason I would work with them is because I want access to their audience. They do not have the resources, the scale, or the knowledge to help me with marketing, with anything other than giving me access to a new audience. That is what they bring to the table. They're old school ways. They have accomplished a lot. They brought a lot. All the things that they have now to offer you, or the things that they have developed in the past, the things that they're offering you now, are very, very simple for you to do, probably better than they're doing. So if I'm going to be working with a publisher at this point, I will only be working with those big 5, and only because they're giving me access to one thing that I can't do myself, and that is their audience. Another thing that I will not be doing is taking on anything that does not have an advance. When these companies come to me, publishers, game companies, and they promise big money, but they're not giving me that advance, it is, you have the potential of earning all this really big money because we have all this information and this data and we think you could do really well. I will not be touching that nonsense anymore. No, I keep having companies come to me with big grand promises. I just had a company come to me with these big grand promises of how much money I can make if I design this particular thing for them. And I spent so many hours doing it. And you know what? They didn't hold up their end of the deal. They didn't do things right. They didn't market things right. They didn't launch things right. And I did not make even remotely the money that they promised. And I spent a ton of time and effort for the potential of having really big money. Is there the potential of that? Yes, because they've had other people do that and accomplish that, but they were not able to replicate that. And because they brought me in on this and then they didn't replicate it, I wasted a ton of time and effort. So I'm no longer signing on for anything that doesn't come with an advance. If it is me doing the work myself for my own ideas and I do not have to answer to anybody, I don't have to abide by anybody's rules, by all means, I will take risks. I love taking risks for potential big career advances and financial advances. I absolutely love that. Highly recommend doing that. But if it comes to a company coming and saying, well, if you write this story for our writing app, or if you design this game, or if you sign on to be one of our authors, you will probably make really good money. We have other people doing it, so you could probably do that too. That is not worth it. It is not worth it to do it because it almost always fails, or at least doesn't perform the way that they promise. And I've seen this time and time again. So if a company comes to me, a game company, a writing app company, a publisher, and they are not bringing significant advance to me, an advance is important because if they give you an advance, that is an amount of money that is yours, period. They cannot take it back if they do not hold up their end of the deal. With a publisher that I signed with, they gave me an advance and then they did not out-earn that advance, but they couldn't take it back from me. They didn't even come close to out-earning the advance because of the way that they marketed and the way they positioned themselves. It was a disaster. So I will not be signing on with any company to do any project unless there is an advance. Potential money is great. We love potential money, but that is not promised money and it's not money in my pocket. Until money is in my pocket, it's not my money. And I just spent a ton of time and effort doing this one thing for what could have been very good money, could have been exceptional life-changing money, and they didn't hold up their end. And just like my lighting went out right now, the light on that money, that potential money, also went out. So unless they are giving me an advance and they're saying, we promise you this much money, you have this much money by working with us, we are assuring you it is in your bank account before you do this work, I will not be touching it because it keeps wasting my time. So if it comes with a good advance, excellent. Go ahead and consider moving forward. If it does not come with a good advance, it's not worth it. And listen closely. I'm not just talking about writing apps and gaming apps and things like that. I'm talking about publishers. If a publisher comes to you with $1,000 advance, that's a joke. That's a joke. You want significant advances, because if that is how little they're promising you, they're really not going to put very much effort into these things. I've also added in a new decision marker inside of my business. I've talked about it in another video, but I am now asking myself the question, would I still do this even if I know that I wasn't going to make money from it? So would I still design a book knowing that I would not make money from it? Would I still take this opportunity knowing I'm not going to get paid from it? Would I still spend my time designing this game knowing I'm not going to make money from it? And if the answer is no, it's work, it's stress, it's taking time away from other things, I am not going to do it. Even if there is potential for money there, I'm not going to do it, because if it's not in my pocket, it's not my money. And so I have to be very respectful and responsible at how I'm spending my time. So am I excited about writing that book? Would I write that book even if I know it's not going to sell? And if the answer is yes, I'm going to write that book. But if I look at a book and I say, I'm writing this one for the money, I don't love this genre or this type of thing that I'm doing this for the fans and for the money because I know it's going to sell well, can I look at that and say, I would write that even if I know I'm not going to make more than $2 off of that? If the answer is no, then I'm going to do something else. I'm going to be more respectful and responsible about my time. And if it's not something I'm excited about, if it's not something I would do even without the money, it's probably not a great choice for me to be making. Another thing, and this is really important for you to hear, is that I will not be allowing people to take agency over my business. Over the course of my career, I have allowed people to come in and take responsibility for certain things inside of my business. And when those people did not hold up their end of the deal, or they did something wrong, or something happened, it has taken down parts of my business. So I will never, ever, ever again allow people agency over my own business. I will not be bringing in people to co-write with me. I will not be bringing in people to co-host something with me. I will not be bringing in people who are making decisions over the things that I'm creating. I will not allow other people to take over agency of my business. And the one tiny caveat to that is, if I work with a big five publisher, of course they're going to have oversight because they now own the copyright to it. They are making the decisions. I would never do that if that was my entire career. Those people do not get say over my entire career. I will not put all of my eggs in one basket. So I will have my own work. I will have my own books, my own indie work. I will have agency over the vast majority of my business. And then if I give any agency just in that one specific context, I am willing to do that, because they cannot impact my entire business, just the life of that one particular book. But outside of that, I'm not bringing in other authors. I'm not bringing in other business people. I'm not bringing in other people who will have agency and say over what I'm doing, because I have had people come in to do big, amazing projects with me. I'm going to be a little vague about this, but I started a project that I loved and I did so well with it for so long. And then I brought in somebody to assist me with it because I wanted fun. I wanted people to come in, and it was somebody that I trusted, and it turned out it was somebody that I could not trust. And when this person broke that trust, it took that entire project away from me. I was no longer able to move forward with it because I brought them in and gave them agency over it. And to this day, it breaks my heart that I'm no longer doing that particular project because I trusted the wrong person on it. So I do not give people agency over what I am doing. Stay in control over what you're doing. Bring people in for like small things. Of course, you can work with people on projects and you can have fun and you can do all these things, but don't do it for the long term. So specifically, like let's say you're doing like a podcast, have people on as guests, but don't have people on as co-hosts. That's kind of the framework that I'm looking here. If they have long-term impact and can take something away from you and take something down, don't give them that agency. Bring them in other ways. Find other opportunities for you to work with them. There's so many ways to be inclusive and to pull all these people in and to do all these really great things, but you have to be smart about how you do it, because we have to think about the long term of your business, the life of your business, not just what's fun for right now, but what could happen if something goes wrong. How does that then impact me? Is it okay for them to have this association? Make the decisions and be smart about it before you do. And then the last thing I want to talk about in this video, because there's way more than 5. We could do many follow-up videos on this, and let me know if you want to see those. But the last thing I want to talk about today is taking advice from people who did something once but did not repeat the process. I have taken career advice from people who have done something that I wanted to do, earned a certain achievement, earned a certain amount of money, positioned themselves in a certain way. I've taken advice from people who did something once, and it big, fabulous, wonderful thing. So much credit for them doing it once. But I listened to them and took advice from them without letting them show that they could do it more than once. So I've taken advice from somebody who achieved something that I thought was amazing and I really wanted to do, but they could not replicate it. They achieved it at one point in their career and have since then been trying to create that again for them, that level of success again for them, and they have not been successful. They haven't been able to. And this is something I've told you guys a lot. We don't take advice from people who haven't done something more than 3 times. We're not listening to new authors because new authors don't have the experience and don't have the proof that they have done things in a way that's actually going to be functional for you. 1 time can be a fluke. It can be a mistake. 2 times can be a fluke and a mistake. 3 times is a pattern. If they've done 3 successful book launches, now they're qualified because they've replicated it 3 times. But if they've only done 1 successful book launch, fluke. It might be that they figured something out, or it could be a fluke, but you have no proof. So we are not taking advice from people who earned $100,000 once. We need to see that year after year after year. And if they've done it 3 years in a row, now we have somebody we can listen to. We're not taking advice from people who are helping other authors to run ads who have successfully helped 1 client. We need to see that they've helped 3 or more clients, and something like that. I want to see like 5, 6, 10 people before I'm going to pay them to help me with these things. I am not taking advice from people who have had fluke success or unproven success is what I should say. I need to see pattern. And I've taken advice from people who made a huge amount of money or who accomplished something really big once. And I followed their advice only to learn that advice didn't work for me. And surprise, it didn't work for them when they tried to do it again the next year. It hurt them, it hurt me. So I will no longer take advice from people, no matter what they've done or accomplished, or they think they figured out, until they have a proven track record of success with it. You must have done that thing 3 times or more. I don't care if you earned $1 million 1 year. If you haven't done it 3 years in a row, you do not have the key to success. You had a happy circumstance. And so I will not be taking advice from anybody who does not have a proven track record. And that goes across the board in everything I do in business and publishing and how I'm doing my books and how I'm handling my finances. If we don't have that pattern, it is not trustworthy. Maybe it'll work, maybe it won't, but I'm not banking my career on somebody who's only done something, no matter how cool it is, 1 time. Always ask questions before you do things because it can lead you down a path. And this has happened again and again and again in my career. I have followed people who had more success than me, but I didn't realize they didn't actually have a strategy and a plan. They told me what they did to get there, and it was a coincidence. It was a happy accident that they got there, and they couldn't recreate it. And it took both of us down. And it set me back really far. So just be very, very careful where you're getting your advice from. All right. There's a lot of things. There's a lot of things that I would not do as an author. You can see I'm very passionate about some of these things in today's conversation. So if you have questions, go ahead and drop those down below. I want to make sure you're successful. I don't want you to have to go through the same pitfalls that I did. I want you to be able to see the path that I walked, see where I stumbled, and avoid that place on the path so that you do not also stumble and break your ankle. I want to make sure that you're doing better than me. So get your questions down here. I will have answers, but my author friends also have answers. You know, I have tons of them here on the channel to make sure we are helping you to grow and to build up what you are doing. So now's the time, ask your questions, and we'll see you in tomorrow's daily episode, helping you navigate the world of publishing to make sure this is your best and most profitable and most successful and happiest year ever. We'll see you then.